and the regular viewer. What's up with this Esmeralda?
I mean, it's a comfort pick for Jewel. And to defend it as well, there are a lot of shields on the side of CFU.
There's a few.
I mean, a few shields, yeah. And some possibilities for more depending on who Angela picks and everything. So, I mean, yes, it could be something that Cloud9's been workshopping on. It could be something to just give Jewel some comfort in that EXP lane. This is game one on a big stage. Jewel is the rookie of the team along with Xayah. So maybe make sure they're comfortable, make sure she's comfortable, and focus on Panda, Ashley, and Nicolette.
And off of CFU, this is definitely a do or die. It's dire. Again, just by the way the schedule works, and if they get swept here by C9, then that's a sure elimination. Group A has its two teams moving up, but for now, we focus on the early game. Moshibang versus Jewel, Esmeralda versus Terizla up top. It's Panda going up against Yui Fendi. And again, just how it is, like the Roger just start bullying.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of possibilities for the Roger. Wondering how this Tagami versus Nicolette is going to go down. Nicolette kind of debuting some of these assassin picks here. We know that Nicolette has had a large hero pool variety, has played some other positions before, but how is it going to be when you're playing with the big girls?
On the big stage. Abby here, bursted down, 2/3 of her health. Nicolette, quick rotation through, back in the XP lane here. About a quarter of a minute until the turtle spawns. For those of you who don't know, Nicolette, also known as Apple, played a good couple of years as a mid laner. And I guess, you know, from all of those mechanics and all of the map control you have, I guess it was just natural for her to pick up. Oh, nice steal by Moshi.
Beautiful steal by Moshi, honestly, very
That was
clean.
a tip
from the bush.
That was a tip of that revenge strike. Just whoop.
That's all it took. Into the bot lane, but both teams taking things slow. CFU knows what's on the line here. They know it's a deciding match for them. They need to at least secure a 1-1 here. Cloud9 also needs to kind of at least secure a 1-1 because they know what's ahead of them.
Yep.
Vega, the monsters of the group essentially, and here comes Cloud9 looking for the possible dive here. Big penalty zone on 3 members of Cloud9, but the damage does respond. Yue able to get to her Earthshaker. Jewel goes down first. Nicolette looking for a target, gets caught up against the wall. This is big damage. Tagami comes in, gets the kill. It's 2-0. Cloud9 down.
Single-handedly off of Moshibang's monstrous penalty zone. She turns the tide and is my personal MVP in that first engagement, which turns into a massive turtle here. SEC replay, seeing again the aftermath of that penalty zone. I think they missed the most important part. It was just a second prior to this, but this is the aftermath. This is the result.
It's going to be huge. They're going to have to find a way to work around that. They're going to have to keep eyes on Moshibang. We saw the Terizla in previous games. Moshibang is able to pull some big moves off, especially early game. I feel like that's when Moshibang really shows up sometimes.
Again, benefit of the doubt for Cloud9 looking at it optimistically. This is a line that takes a while to get up. You have to wait for Ashley to find these odd angles for maybe Nicolette and Jewel to jump through. But looking at how CFU Serendipity are playing and how they have such a huge chip on their shoulders after what happened in the first series of the day, I don't think these ladies are going to make it easy. Like, they are going to have eyes on the back of their head saying, you know, what's in this bush? Where's the rotation coming in? While being aggressive. Look at this now, Yui Fendi. And Yui, like, Tagami just coming and helping out.
Yeah, Tagami, just to make sure that there's no funny business from Cloud9 here. Now, I like what you said there. CFU, there's either two ways you take a big sweep like that, like losing like that. You either break down.
It crushes you.
It crushes you, or now you're angry, right? Now you're hungry, you know what's on the line, and you feed off that. And so far in game number 1, CFU is feeding off of it. Cloud9 needs to find the response. Turtle going to be up in 30 seconds. Jewel having a little bit of trouble against Moshibang in the boss side, and Tower goes down in the top side.
That's a flicker forced out of Abby here, but I think that should be fine. You are looking at an Angela, relatively low necessity hero, like all she needs is her ult, and then she's in the fight, so she can keep herself safe there. Look at this deep cut by Moshibang. It's been a while, like we rarely see this interaction in the XP lane, right? Because Esmeralda is a non-meta hero. But look at this, a level gap between Moshibang and Jewel. And I can only imagine what the gold is like, right? Look at this, 2,000 ahead, CFU Serendipity.
Yeah, and a lot of it's probably in the pocket of Moshibang. A lot of it, luckily, Nicolette and Tagami, at least at an even leveling field. So it's a good thing for Cloud9 when it comes down to some of these neutral objectives. You do have the dashes, and look at the possible play Onto Yui Fendi here. Ashley, Xayah both hiding out in the bush. They get the pin. Yui Fendi looking for the getaway. A lot of damage onto Panda with the speedy light wheel. Out comes the heart guard. More damage. Can they find Yui Fendi here? Nicolette trying to lock on. Gets the kill. Yui Fendi goes down. It's a 1 kill, though, onto the gold lane for the Turtle. Was the trade worth it?
I'd say it wasn't, but Cloud9 are just doing what they can, right? The fact that it being Yui Fendi makes it close to 50-50, makes it almost worth it, almost a wash. But I'd say CFU Serendipity are okay with that, just as long as they don't slip up and let these pickoffs turn into massive objectives. Because look, their map is pristine. All turtles their way, not a single turret taken out. Looking at the item game here, yeah, can't confirm that's almost 1,000 between Moshi Bang and Jewel. But yeah, no, interestingly enough, Nicolette is above Tagami.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's going to be huge. It's going to be important, even with the death. Holding only 100 gold lead, but still could turn it into more. Cloud9 need to now, I mean, this is their time. They're going to hit a spike at some point, probably around like third turtle. They'll have a moment where maybe they can really do something. First Lord. But if CFU is able to really just give them the stiff arm here, it's going to be trouble. A little bit of damage onto Moshi Bang. Panda with the sidestep, able to get more shots onto Yui. But CFU are playing the macro game. They're taking towers. They don't care about fights.
Yep, they're circling their prey as if they took the clouds themselves into the deep blue sea. The Sharks have taken another turret down bottom, and I appreciate what Jewel is trying to do here. Like, again, when the cat's away, the mouse plays, right? So when it's a free lane, you get that push in so that eventually the map opens up for Panda, which, by the way, we got to counter blessings. Panda hasn't died yet. As a C9 fan, as a fan of NA, as a growing and developing scene, again, this is the first time that an NA women's team has joined the MWI in its 3-year history. You kind of want to get what you can, right? Out of these small trades, out of this relatively silent part of the game, like entering the mid game, I think this helps Cloud9. I think just the fact that they're allowed to push a little, jockey for position, allow for Nicolette to take these buffs here and there, this helps Cloud9 maybe find their footing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the reasons they went for that gold lane gank early on, even sacrificing the turtle for it, is give Panda a good game. Make sure Panda's a little bit ahead of Yui Fendi possibly, because Panda could end up being the big saving grace. They're already kind of locked into a mid-late game condition at this point, taking those few early deaths. They got to look for something. They do have the heal with the floor, and there's some possibilities there. But CFU, all they got to do is just keep pushing, keep playing these off lanes, keep playing the pressure. Don't force fights, just play for objectives.
And now there's the last turtle of the game, scored by Tagami, and there's a fight.
A lot of damage on Xayah, able to get some heal back though. In comes the penalty zone, able to commit ab, gets the kill onto Xayah. Ashley now in trouble. The electrifying beat's able to lock on, bringing Ashley down to about half health. Tagami still forcing the field, dancing with danger right now. Jewel gets the falling star moon, but unable to do too much. CFU got what they came for once again, another tower.
Whenever you fight CFU, especially with this kind of lineup, it's never a fair fight. You're never thinking, oh, it's just the same 4 or 3 ladies. You always have to think of Abby. And the way that Tagami and Yui Fendi just kind of dove in there and just, all right, threaten these fights, if you even think of diving us, then you suffer the consequences of a puppet on strings. I think Xayah's not there yet. Xayah can hit the blooms, but their lineup isn't built just yet. Her heroes don't have the items just yet, the damage output, to make that heal make sense.
Yeah, I think it's completely right? And I think overall, we're looking at Xayah, we're looking at Jewel, the 2 rookies right now on the team. It's their time to step up. They got to be able to do something. Here comes the diversion play. Can they lock onto Yui Fendi here? The stun almost connects. Heartguard does come out, but the Lycan pounce onto Xayah, brings her down to about half health. Jewel now on the run as well. Yui Fendi doesn't want to give it up. Yui also looking for Ashley, gets a toss-up, gets a knock-up. Ashley actually able to use the Purify, just dance around that, get some damage back. Jewel now get involved as well. Nobody goes down on either team.
That's a pacifist run, just putting enough damage on a Cloud9 to force them back, and they eventually do get that push down bottom. CFU Serendipity shrinking the map up. I'm wondering, now that Xayah has moved over the bloom to Panda, the Panda, does that mean it's go time? Does she have the items? Because it's going to be much, much difficult for her to get some farm in. They have to wait for these waves to crash in.
And Nicolette versus Tagami on the top side. Nicolette having a little bit of trouble. Electrifying Beats comes out. Nicolette gonna go down. Tagami, the Shinigami, taking kills by the minute right now. It's 2-0-1 for her, and with that heart guard, Tagami can do whatever she wants.
This is the perfect jungler that's slightly out of meta that fits this lineup well. You got an Angela on you. Anyone diving can really help. This puts Ashley's job a very hard one as the mid laner, because as the Lu Yi, you're the one who wants to find these odd angles to put your opponents in a very uncomfortable position. Quick, easy lord here for CFU Serendipity. Now, when you have an Angela, when you have a Roger, when you have a Joy, suddenly Predator becomes prey. It's like they can't even live in their own jungle now. Look at this.
The Sharks are on the prowl right now. They're aiming for the sky. Cloud9 looking a little shaky. Panda still not taking a death, but when does Panda finally do something? Big penalty zone, locks onto Xayah. Jewel taking a little bit of damage. Panda trying to pop off. Jewel still in the midst of it. Able to take a lot of shots to the face. The heal comes in. We're seeing some possibilities, but still not enough. Cloud9 unable to output. They can survive, but no output.
Yep, they can kite, but can they kill? I think we are, baby, optimistically, like 3 or 4 minutes away from that. Quick item check. You do have 2 items on Jewel here, so I think she needs like 2 more to be able to tank up even more. The Trinity onto Nicolette, and just 2 items on Ashley here. Not even the Trinity on Panda yet. She needs a double time, I'd say.
she just got the DHS. Finally locked in, 11 minutes in. Does this mean Panda can finally start outputting? We are seeing Jewel start to be a bit tankier in that last fight, but still CFU, the way they've been playing with this macro game, taking towers, they don't care if they don't get a bunch of kills. It's 5-1 right now, and they're controlling the game.
That's right. They're a sledgehammer. They don't have to see results immediately, but as soon as they see cracks, and boy, oh boy, 5-1, 5K ahead, if that's not a crack, I don't know what is. They'll just keep going, you know, just keep working at it slowly but surely to break down Cloud9 in game 1. But the fact that this is going much slower than we expected means C9 has a chance. C9 can actually just force fights like this. See, Moshi Bang put down half health, and you see here Abby isn't even thinking about it, throwing it on Yui Fendi, not Moshi Bang. Maybe a pickoff, much like what Falcons Vega did to CFU Serendipity early on, game 2. Maybe that could be Cloud9's ticket out of here.
Yeah, Cloud9 just kind of needs that big play, the big turnaround. And they've been buying time well. They were able to get past the first Lord without losing a single inhibitor. CFU, though, I think they know this, right? And they know, okay, we got to make something happen here. We got to make something shake, because it's true. If Jewel gets out of control, if Panda gets out of control, if Ashley's able to make some cheeky plays, it could be a problem. So the longer this goes, the more Cloud9 starts to have I mean, it's not like a game ender. If they get to end game, they still need to pull it off, and we don't even know if they're capable of that yet.
Yep.
But CFU definitely knows there is a clock ticking.
Yeah, long story short, Cloud9 has to find a way to be on the offense. 5-1 here in a very slow-paced matchup just shows that the team that's in control is definitely in control. If Cloud9 can find that odd angle from the back line, maybe take out... this could be it. Oh, nice feint. Yui checking in. If they can do that again while Yui isn't checking these bushes, that might be the start. We can talk about a comeback.
We'll see. It's still 1-5 right now. Positions are being held by both teams. Cloud9's taking things slow. So it seems like they do have a bit of a game plan here, but CFU also not scared to let this drag out. They're not rushing anything at all. Possible heart guard onto UA Fendi here. And look at the positioning from Abby. Always just hanging out in the back, going for a purple buff right now.
Never showing herself.
Hanging out, never showing face at all until the heart guard comes through. They're going to be able to take this Lord.
Yep, she's making herself scarce, and that's what you do. The conceal here coming in from Yui. They're wailing away. A lot of damage thrown out. Impressive. Okay, so there is some potential. Ashley can, maybe given the chance, 2 to 3 seconds of free hits with her spells.
Yeah, you get a couple hits, you match it up with, and then you also get some of the bloom shots and everything. Yep. You get some of the stuns. There's some possibilities there, but CFU, they didn't overcommit. They are also playing so cleanly in a sense of like, we got Lord, let's back off, let's wait for the push.
Yep, so again, the attempt by Jewel. And again, Xayah, all she can do is just watch the map, right? Now that's her best practice right now. Much like Abby, but you flip the coin over. One is playing defense, one is playing offense. And Abby, This is, oh, check it in.
Gami checks in. That's a lot of damage on Nicolette. Nicolette forced to run. A couple more shots. The heal does come in for Cloud9, but the Lord finally gets the crash. And Cloud9's late to the party, late to their own house. The Lord is in. He's home. He's kicking down the door. Moshi Bang lines it up with a nice Earthshaker. Oh. Nicolette finds Moshi Bang, though. Moshi Bang down. Jewel might be next on the chopping block. It's 1-for-1. Yui takes a lot of damage. Cloud9 trying to respond. Panda popping off with a speedy light wheel, able to get the shots off. But in comes Tagami, the Shinigami, reaping death. But Nicolette stops her in her tracks. It's chaos. It's disaster. And Cloud9 comes out happy.
It's the first big clapback from the team from North America. Cloud9 trades 3 for 1. Here's the SEC replay. Could have sworn that there was a plan from CFU Serendipity to actually end it right then and there, but C9 played the rope-a-dope very well. You see how a lot of them are very low, and how Nicolette just skedaddled out of there. She could have gotten punished, but nay. She says, I'm going to try to play for a comeback, and eventually she gets her purple buff again.
That ice crown, the ice crown.
The winner crown.
Winner crown, foo. Nicolette hit it in the middle of the battle, was able to sidestep, then get the kill. So good mechanics. Something we were wondering if Nicolette was going to have. Maybe she's getting some rust off herself. Maybe she's getting a little more comfortable on stage. Because remember, none of these girls have ever been at something this large before.
Not like this.
Not even back home have they been on a stage before. So this is a big step in the direction for Cloud9. Can they pull it off, though? Because CFU, man, they almost took that game off of Vega. They look tough right now.
It's true. They called this the group of death, and that holds for almost everyone. We haven't really seen it quite for Falcons Vega, but who's to say? Who's to say? We haven't seen all the matches in Group A just yet, but right here, right now, 16 minutes in, 6-4, Cloud9 are putting up quite the comeback, possibly.
Ooh, conceal play. Winter Crown does come through for Ashley. Gonna get knocked up here, though. Taken out. Yui Fendi able to get the kill. Penalty zone just misses. Can they get the response to get the trade at least? Cloud9 finds it. Panda able to pop off. Yui Fendi still playing the distance, though. Heart guard still locked on. Look at the damage on a Jewel. Jewel able to just get away. It's 1 for 1. But CFU they're gonna hightail it back to the Lord, not try to push it too deep.
I wouldn't say that's the safest thing to do right now. Because look, I think C9 knows that it's time to hustle. All right? The few weeks or months that they've been together as a full-on team, in the guidance of their coach, knows that, hey, we got to take it step by step, you know? There are some fundamentals, some things that you got to do, basic protocol. And so far, Cloud9 have been checking off these boxes. Like, again, having seen multiple MWIs casted at last year's, this is at a level where I can say it's pretty competitive. Coming from a team that has been together for a while, in the Kamai, in the CFU Serendipity, going up against C9, first-timers on this big stage. I am impressed by what I'm seeing.
Definitely holding their own, and with Ashley back on the field, they can fight for this Lord, and CFU knows it. You said it might not be safe to rush it. They knew it. They made the call. Now they're just playing the distance again. I think they kind of want Cloud9, hoping that Cloud9 might slip up here, make a mistake. Jewel, though, she's tanky right now, man. She can finally hang out. The Esmeralda's starting to pay off a little bit. Tagami dashing through.
Ashley!
Looking for the big damage on Ashley. Ashley trying to escape, not going to be able to. Tagami gets the kill, but look at Panda down on the boss side, trying to pop off onto somebody. Speedy light wheel comes out. Tagami gets the winner crown. Can they capitalize? Panda in a little bit of trouble. A lot of damage coming from Moshi Bang. It's still 2 for 1. Yui Fendi, though, in the wolf form, looking for the Lycan pounce. Nicolette switches directions up against Yui here. Doesn't have the fracture, doesn't have the damage. Panda locks on to Moshi Bang. It's chaos once again, and Moshi Bang goes down 2 for 2. Cloud9 still in the game, but look at Yui. Jewel might not want to be the target. Minions do come out. He has the heart guard ready. Abby is a problem. What's the solution?
She is with and without these fights. The fact that if you rope-a-dope CFU Serendipity, they can just tuck one of themselves in to another and then pick a better fight. I think Cloud9 got as much as they could out of that trade. By taking down Tagami and Moshi Bang, that's as best you can ask for, but that could have definitely been the end. CFU Serendipity, again, much like the Sharks that they are, these ladies are able to split up Cloud9. Isn't that what clouds do, though? They're just condensation in the air, man. But they're holding on. I think if they can put Ashley in a better position, they can get a better fight.
Looks like the Russian Lord, though. Tagami's ready, heart guard ready. Cloud9 down Their health bars are looking a little bit low. They need some heal. They decide to back off. They know it's too late to rush Lord.
What I've seen from the past
stalemate.
5 or 6 minutes of this bout here is Ashley not finding an angle. Can they get the steal?
Nikolai gonna try to dash in here. Can Nikolai pull it off? Tagami able to get it in the big knock up. Nikolai down. Jewel now on the run. CFU with Lord like this could be dangerous for Cloud9. Jewel still on the run, has a lot of shield, should be able to tank whatever CFU sends. It's 40 seconds on the clock for Cloud9.
Oh.
We're still waiting on a wave. Can they defend this?
This is pre-TikTok timers, 18 to 20. This is as good as TikTok timers, especially if there is a gap as tight as this one. And I'm not talking just economy, I'm talking about the map. Look at this now. All 3 waves are crashing in, and Lord hasn't even spawned. This is going to be difficult for Cloud9 to defend. Yes, Nikolai can come through, but they are lacking the map. They are lacking the space to work with this. They can't play on Inception. They can't shock CFU Serendipity anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big, crucial moment. 4 seconds on the clock for Nicolette. Panda is fed. Going to work on Melton down. A member here, Moshe Dang with the penalty zone. Into the backside. Jewel also with the falling star moon. They're trying to pull the Lord to the side, but in comes Tagami. Jewel goes down. Yui Fendi taking a lot of damage. Lord still at half health, and the base falls anyways. Cloud9 cannot defend. CFU take the win.
The Sharks can breathe. Get some oxygen in their gills because it's not over just yet. They are still alive. Group A proven to truly be the group of death. C9 had a lot of promise. That lineup, their execution. We'll throw it over to Eternity, and we're going to break it down even further.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Trex. Thank you, Leo. But GG for CFU Gaming, finally coming back from that loss from match number 1 to lead this best of 2 series now here.
It took them a while to actually take that game, which is very impressive. Again, like Leo and Trex mentioned about C9, the fact that they were able to somehow even force it all the way to that later stage despite getting absolutely obliterated in the early game team fights was very, very impressive. But still, there was a lot of promise with this lineup, obviously in the later stage of the game, but when those promises get fulfilled, when you lose all your base turrets already, when you lose 2 base turrets already, it just becomes way too late. And unfortunately for C9, CFU understand that they always have that advantage. With the base turrets taken down, they know that these waves are always going to be constantly slow pushing back towards Cloud9. They never need to actually make the desperate call to rush the Lord. They can just go back and forth. This new version of the Lord dance that we have come to know now with, you know, the changes onto the Lord damage. But all throughout, the fact that CFU were able to just constantly look for these fights, there were moments where they were disconnected, and those were the moments that Falcons Vega were able to punish in match number 1. Unfortunately, here C9, they were good at kiting back. They were really good at kiting back, almost, right? I mean, with the carry, with the low Yi, it's good for kite back, but every time they got CFU low, it almost felt like for C9, they really had to wait for CFU to dive even more, to overextend, for them to actually punish CFU. Meanwhile, if CFU make a mistake, they can always just be like, all right, you know what? That's a bit too much damage. I'm gonna just head out. Jewel, shout outs to her. Damage taken. She was able to take so much damage, and even for damage dealt, you know, the carry doing a good job. But unfortunately, when you're dealing damage to these frontliners, which we already, I think, established that the frontliners are quite sustainable as well for the side of CFU, the targeting really doesn't matter, right? At that point, you're not able to fully burst down to Edith with the Primal Rat sustain, with the Angela sustain, a Terizla that we've already spoken about in match number 1 being a ridiculous hero. She also went Queen's Wings, and you can see the damage reduction, definitely.
So it was the broken item build for the Terizla once again. And
yeah,
you know, it actually poses the question, right? In MSC, it's very different, but for MWI, is Terizla first pickable?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the meta that we're seeing right now? As of course, that we do have to crown our match MVP by PlayStation Tegami. Again, right? One of the biggest anchors in CFU Serendipity. We saw it in game number 1 and game number 2 for their first match of the day against Falcons Vega, and we're finally seeing it once again in the game. And we're gonna have a little look at her highlights this time around.
I'll have to say, though, if it was me, I want to give a massive honorable mention here to Moshi, because honestly, with this Terizla, this is the reason, by the way, Terizla is so prio, and that's why in match number 1, I already expected it to be super prio, was because, especially considering most of the players here are trying to utilize the assassins, the Terizla is just the best enabler for all these assassins. I think in the first turtle fight, you guys saw that Moshi was able to get a penalty zone on the 3 members, and that just set up perfectly for the electrifying beats coming in from the joint. If you have anyone who can lock people down while also soaking in all the damage, baiting out all the resources, it really enables these assassins to execute everybody.
But you know, ladies and gentlemen, before we finalize this best of two, you know, anything could happen. Cloud9 could definitely come back in the second game. We are going to throw to a short break, so we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to MWI 2024 at EWC. We are now back for the second game in this best of two series between CFU Serendipity and Cloud9. Earlier on, CFU Serendipity were able to lead this best of two series 1-0, and it's now or never. It's now or never for Cloud9 to make their comeback to push this to 1-1.
Now I'm wondering if game number one was a bit more of an experimental game for Cloud9, right? Because obviously it is game number one of a best of two. We were talking about a lot of these cheese picks, maybe seeing the light of day here in a best of two format, especially in the group stages. But yeah, after that performance, I feel like, you know, it's time to go back to the fundamentals. It's time to go back to the picks that have been meta, right? Especially now, considering if they lose 2-0 against CFU, then they're going to have to bank on a win. Clean sweep against Falcons Vega.
And on that note, right, it's time for you guys to put in your predictions, ladies and gentlemen, the STC predictions, because we want to know what you think. We don't want to know what Miracle thinks, right? What? We don't want him to curse any of these teams, but we want to know how you feel, because technically, for match number one earlier on the day, you guys did it. A 90-ish, 91% prediction, I think, for you guys for Falcons Vega, and you guys successfully predicted that. So what are your predictions for this? Do you think Cloud9 will be able to come back? Do you think that it's going to be a CFU match 2-0 to kind of tie it in with Falcons Vega in Group A? so many questions. Please help us answer it.
I'm not going to answer. You say you
No,
don't want to...
you're not allowed to answer.
Okay.
You can analyze. You can give us speculations of the picks maybe that will change, but no predictions. I'm sorry.
No predictions. What about statements, right?
What kind of statements?
Never mind. Let's go back to the game. Let's go back to that draft. Because honestly, I think in the first phase, it was actually already pretty solid from C9, right? The fact that they were able to pick those picks early. I think I was not a big fan of the carry, but then after seeing the Edith and the Terizla, I'm like, okay, I get it, right? I get the Terizla pick, Edith pick, and then straight into a carry. But then in the second phase, the Florian, after having 3 squishy members already, they decided to go for another squishy member. And then on top of that, they put in the Esmeralda. I definitely can see the winning condition for this composition. It really comes down to like early game as well, because for the Esmeralda, it's kind of a weird hero in a sense where the power spike isn't the usual power spike that we are known, that we know of in MLBB. Because Esmeralda, massive power spike at the start of the game. You're really good at lane. Then once people get Dominus Ice, you kind of fall off a bit. So mid game, down again, and then late game, that's when you get the power spike again. But unfortunately, again, although those promises, all the potential that we saw in the late game for that lineup, they got it a bit too late and they lost so much. So if they want to go and enter with the same approach, they really gotta clean up a lot of the execution, because early on with the Florian, even we are kind of accustomed to that, right? We know that with Florian, you don't go for the first neutral objectives. You leave that open, you go for farm, and you go trade.
As made popular by Beloyski.
BBB.
BBB.
Big boy Beloy.
So that's the thing, right? How will these teams adjust? How will they come back? Because again, like a lot of people might be questioning the Esmeralda pick, and I think it's a good argument from Trex when we went into the game, was the fact that there were a lot of shieldings on the side of CFU Serendipity, that at the end of the day, when you mentioned the Esmeralda power spike hit, she was a lot more tanky, she was a lot more able to suck in the damage that was thrown at her. And obviously the women's teams, again, they fall to their comfort, right? Despite certain situations, certain scenarios, if it's just comfort over everything, right? They want to make sure that they are able to play it. They understand the fundamentals of the hero and can play it and understand the ins and outs.
Yeah.
So the Esmeralda at a certain point did work.
And I agree with that. I actually really like the Esmeralda pick, but not as the sole frontliner. I think for the most part, Esmeralda, if she's the only frontliner you have in your composition, she's still a bit too squishy, because the sustain she isn't just a brick wall like Terizla, you know what I mean? She needs time to walk around and then sustain around with her skills while she's dancing. You know Esmeralda, but usually...
Night Sky tells all, sorry.
Yes, exactly. I think someone else in front with her would be great. And if they want a healer still, Minotaur was still up for grabs. I don't remember it being banned out by CFU, so they could have gone for maybe even a Minotaur there to actually help with the healing, with the Flask of the Oasis even. You kind of get the same thing, but also you have so much more lockdown so that the carry can actually do her thing. She can, the spinning light wheels.
So now the ball is in their court, right, for Cloud9. And definitely, I think we talked about it in the roundtable as well. This was one of the teams that I was so excited to see, especially with Nicolette coming into play. Technically it's her redemption arc.
Yeah.
It's her time to shine. And I'm pretty
That's a
sure
song.
that she... Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
MWI song, Time to Shine.
Oh. Could you sing it for us?
No.
No. Okay. But back to that point, right? It's her redemption arc. It's her time to shine. It's her time to prove to the world what she's made of. So definitely they're coming back in with a level head. They're coming back to try and at least go for 1-1 now as we enter, ladies and gentlemen, into the drafting phase for the final game in this best of 2 series. And now Cloud9 have first pick.
See, this is what's scary, Eterna, because, blue side has had such a massive advantage, but in that game it was C9 technically with the advantage, because they were the ones to leave the Loyi open. They were the ones to pick it up for themselves. Loyi has been phenomenal, even in MSC, and usually you pick it up, you get a big advantage.
100% win rate.
100% win rate, exactly. But now that C9 has lost on the Loyi, I'm actually going to think this is what I would do if I was in CFU's position. I'd be like, all right, let's not ban the Loyi. We saw what the Loyi could do in game number 1, and honestly, it was not much. The diversions wasn't being capitalized, wasn't being used by any of the members. And again, it's not their fault, because who's gonna take it? Florin? All the other squishy members? Carries? Solo flanking? Yeah. I don't know. It just definitely did not fit with the composition that they had. And CFU, it seems like they are taking that route. Maybe even the chip. Knowing how C9 has been playing in game number 1, maybe they leave the chip open because then they're forcing C9 to pick up the chip or give it over to CFU. And I know for a fact, if chip gets left open, CFU will like that pick. Oh man, I've been hearing so many things when it comes to CFU, not just the women's team, but the men's team as well. So they definitely have been sharing a lot of their strategies. Chip, their combination, they know how to play the chip. They're chip FU.
And the, and the thing is, like, even despite that fact, right? Chip is just so good in this current meta.
Yeah.
Because if you want to go for heroes that like to split push, if you want to go for heroes that like to play in the far lane, like assassins normally do, especially when we get into that mid game to try and control these side lanes, the chip just does so well. Has so much advantage to go in and make those plays happen, the pickoff plays from happening. And it looks like the chip has actually been left open up until this point. Suxin gets banned in from C9, and CFU have opted to take away the Terizla to try and have a more level advantage in the EXP lane. And do you think with this, Yuzong might be the choice that they go for?
First pick? Not too sure if it's going to be first pick.
No, but
or
like
if they banned out.
generally for the EXP lane.
Yeah, I guess that definitely will be one of the choices. I think in MMSC as well, when the Terizla gets banned out, we usually see
It's open.
Zong. But they go for the Angela ban. It is open. It is up for grabs. They can go for the chip now. Will Cloud9 steal the chip away from CFU? Will they trade it out with the Luo Yi? Will they go for Roger? Because technically Roger is still up for grabs. And again, it was completely ignored in the first phase of game number 1. CFU didn't pick it up, but they picked it up in the second phase. C9, they're definitely going to have to think about that because it's a great flex pick. It doesn't matter if you can only play it in the jungle. It's still very prio in that jungle.
I mean, technically Luo Yi has also been opened up.
Yeah.
Right? Do they want to go for the same approach as they did in game number 1? Sure, it didn't really work out for them, but that burst potential from the Luo Yi in the early stage of the game is still something to fight for. But they go for a different route. No chip, no Roger, no Luo Yi. They go for the Ruby instead. So this time, they do have a setup hero. They do have a hero to make the plays happen.
Yeah. Trying to anticipate the chip pick or a Luo Yi pick here to try to go for it, but I think it is going to be a chip Roger here. For the side of CFU, we're talking about how the Roger should always be prioritized. You know, we have seen that many times before, and now for CFU, knowing that the Edith is not up for grabs, the Angela, the Terizla, they will just go for the Roger, but they don't go for the chip. Maybe they're trying to read out or trying to feign out. I don't know. This might be overthinking, right? But maybe CFU, they think C9 didn't pick the chip, so they have no intention to pick it up. Maybe we just go for a mid lane first, like a Vexana, and then end off the first phase with the chip, knowing C9 will probably just go for a counter.
It's a good priority lane as well, right? The Vexana. She clears really quickly. Obviously, still a little slow in comparison to a mid laner like the Lilia that we still have yet to see and come through here for MWI this year. But Vexana, a really great pick, a really good option to go in when they want to try and control the team fights. So with the Hayabusa also left open from the first stage of the game because they opted for the Suxin ban, the Hayabusa does come through alongside the Faramis.
Whoa. Faramis and the Hayabusa. A few picks now that they can go for would be like, I mean, they could go for big setters like the Tigreal and the Minotaur, or they can still try to utilize the chip. With the Faramis, you want to try to usually clump up in these team fights, so if you have prio around the map just with the teleport, with the shortcut, you can still try to outplay the Faramis, but Faramis is known to be a very, very good counter up against the chip, so you can already see for C9, they're trying to deny the chip picks by picking up good picks against the chip, like the Ruby, the Faramis, so they'll just go for the Minotaur. Like I said earlier, the Minotaur is a great setter, great punish. You can react to almost anything, and also you can engage. You also have the sustainability. Great all-rounder.
I mean, technically, Ruby is still flex, no?
It is. It is still flex.
We've seen it flex in like the men's scene.
Yeah.
But for the female
Cram,
scene...
XP.
Exactly. So if they still want to go for chip, couldn't they technically still go chip Faramis?
Yeah, I think for C9, they can definitely go still for that. But, I don't know how comfortable they are on the chip. The main concern for me is still that, right? Because on the Luo Yi, it also felt like they were really too comfortable taking these big diversions on to go for flanks. And I don't know. At this point, I think for the Ruby, it's probably going to go Robe, not XP. It's an Atan ban though, so they're already taking away a hyper carry from Cloud9, someone that can actually utilize the chaos that Hayabusa, Fermiz, and Ruby can create in the map to get some space. But like you said, Eterna, the Yu Zhong could be a very good choice, and that's why Cloud9 banned it away. That's probably the next best thing when it comes down to the XP lane, when you can set, sustain, fight, tank up damage, and deal damage. That's something Yu Zhong specializes in. Yeah, banned down. Now the X-Borg too, so...
Oh.
Huh.
Wow.
Planning for a tanky XP lane, I'm guessing now.
Who would that be?
I don't know if they... I mean, technically with the Minotaur and the Vexana, Arlet is a great pick. You can also go full tank on that Arlet. You can still get countered by the X-Borg later on in the mid-game. Yeah, I'm thinking Arlet right now with the Minotaur and the Vex. You get so much value out of the CC that is already there.
I wonder if C9 are sniffing this out, but no, they go for the Harith ban instead. Trying to push the tempo and trying to push this Roger into the jungle. And again, right, for CFU, it's still a big flex.
Yep.
Who's going to be in the gold lane? Who's going to be in the jungle? The Roger is still a big question mark, but here it is. Will Arlet be placed in the EXP lane now? Because technically, wouldn't you go for the flex for the gold lane and the jungle at this point?
Yeah, I think going for the flex would make sense, but technically they can also just pick up a Claude here, because for Cloud9, they haven't picked up a Claude just yet. They need someone in the weak side of the gold lane to actually cover up. They'll go for the Arlet first, and I guess, yeah, they're really just going to try to utilize that flex from the Roger, because even if Cloud9 go for the Claude, they already have the Roger. They can flex into the gold lane. That's a winning matchup. The Harith has been dealt with by C9 themselves, so there's not really much risk for CFU right now to just go for that Arlet. Thinking about C9, I'm thinking Claude Moskov. Those are the only two picks, I guess, that are up for grabs. Moskov, maybe a bit too risky. You might need that blink, but even then, I don't know. This is like, you choose your poison. Moskov survives better in lane, but in these team fights are a bit more vulnerable. Claude is the opposite, right? He does better in these team fights, but in lane against a Roger, you get bullied quite hard.
Panda likes Moskov. Panda likes carry, and Panda likes Roger. But it looks like that Lolita and that carry will come through. The carry, once again, another comfort pick in for Panda. And the Lolita. Why the Lolita here?
Try to push back some of the... I think they're...
Wait, so Ruby XP?
Yeah, so it is going to be Ruby XP. For Jewel, the Lolita pick is really because I think they're anticipating another gold lane or another marksman to go to the gold lane and Roger in the jungle. So trying to capitalize on the three ranged heroes that CFU has. But again, this is why the flex pick is so valuable. This is why they picked up the Arlet first instead of a marksman. Now they can adapt. They can go for an assassin in the jungle. It's not, I mean, technically it could still work. Something like a Nolan in the jungle could still work. Heck, I would say with how much damage they already have here, if they want to go... Lancelot! I was about to say, if they want to go utility, the Arlet could still go like hybrid damage and also tank, but they go for something even crazier, Lancelot.
So take those three debut picks, right? The Lolita, we have the Lancelot.
Fermiz too?
And the Fermiz, exactly.
And Arlet, so another debut in MWI.
Man, these picks are getting even more interesting, even more spicy, and everything is on the line for C9 right now. Everything is on the line for the North American representatives here at MWI. Trex, you shaking now?
Materna, but whoever is the better team will win today, because this is the heart of esports here. Whether Cloud9 loses, wins, whether CFU comes out on top, we're here for MWI. Leo, we're in the land of Dawn.
And Lancelot makes a comeback. It's been a hot minute since we've last seen this assassin in the jungle. It's possibly a kit that Tagami prefers, because in the absence of Hayabusa and the Roger in the hands of Yui Fendi, I think this is their next best move. I appreciate it, though. I can see how, because of Moshi Bang and Yui's CC, they needed extra damage. They needed good cleanup. How do you get that? Well, you could have picked the Nolan, but they preferred the Lancelot, so I think they needed a better way out for her.
And not only that, after seeing the joy on Tagami, Tagami does great into getting to that back line, targeting, you know, just locking on to exactly who she needs to lock on to. And that could be a problem here for Panda, could be a problem for Nicolette, maybe. But Cloud9, I think what's going to be huge for them is how Ashley utilizes this Netherrealm, if they're able to really capitalize it, and can Xayah finally land some big sets and make her hero count?
That's right. The mid lane duo from Cloud9 had a tough game one, so this might be them course correcting. Now they got eyes on Xayah. Moshi Bang sends her back. That's going to be a small camp invade here. Jewel can only watch. Something to note, Ashley's rocking Lethal Ignition on the farmers. We don't see this anymore.
I mean, hey man, rock it, drop it, try to pull something off here. Ashley's going to go back to base now. 15 seconds on the clock for this turtle. Nicolette on the outside of the map. Xayah doing a good job of like keeping cues on CFU. Not going too deep, not getting cut off, but at least giving vision to Cloud9. But CFU, they know she's there. They don't care. They're ready to position. Look at all four of them kind of making this box around this turtle. Now let's see exactly what happens. Abby taking a little bit of damage. Ooh. Abby and Jewel holding the brunt of the charge. CFU backed off.
There is still Moshi Bang holding CFU's ground at the turtle. Let's go. Circling around. Something to know as well, if I'm going to nitpick about the emblem on Ashley, check out Tegami. She's rocking Lancelot with a Warcry. So all of those little basics, and then the Thorn Rose, like eventually, this tells me she's going to deal damage. Like we've seen hybrids, we've seen Tanksalots make a showing here and there in the past few months, but this is full-on damage Lancelot. Let's see how it works out. A relatively mum and quiet first 3 minutes. Like nothing has happened.
These girls got their gloves on. They're stalling right now, waiting.
The mitts are on.
The mitts are on. The gloves are on. They're ready to throw some punches. Both teams taking some aggressive routes here. This time Cloud9 does have some heavy CC. They have some possibilities, but CFU answered so well with the Minotaur. Yui's going to jump in. Speaking of the Minotaur here, Nicolette holding to the bush, looking for Abby, locks on to Minotaur. Instead, in comes the big stun. Can Cloud9 capitalize on this? Nicolette able to get the first blood. Make it two, a double kill. Over to Nicolette here, the pullback. Ashley with the Stampede. Moshi Bang now possibly in a little bit of trouble. Moshi Bang able to output some nice damage. Ashley there as well. Nicolette, Jewel, going to finally back off and go for the turtle.
2 for none. Giving Cloud9 the go-ahead, the green light to take out this turtle. They're going for it. Moshi Bang versus Ashley and Jewel. Will they force this? Oh, turtle at a 10th.
Got me down to half health. Maybe still want to go for the dive in. Nicolette able to get the turtle, but a nice final slash does connect on to Jewel and Ashley. They're still able to get away. Cloud9 escape unscathed.
Clean. CFU Serendipity walk away with nothing. 2 minutes until the next turtle, and I can expect the same kind of pacing. Again, this does propel Cloud9 up by about 1,000 gold, and based on how the first 3 minutes of the game went, that's an astronomical lead already, because they made the first move, they got away with everything they needed to do, and there was very little punish. It looks like those CFU are looking to put pressure on Panda. I'd reckon that's the best part to put it into. Wait lang, hold up. Was that? Is Yui Fendi up on gold? You see that?
Don't know. I didn't see exactly.
Was that Yui like 500 gold or something like that?
It's it's definitely possible. You know, the Roger's got great poke. He's able to maybe even force him. Panda seems to be a bit more of the safe player. We're taking a look at gold now. Yui Fendi up about 200 in gold right now. So Panda not too far behind, but definitely Yui Fendi has gotten a couple extra last shots in, maybe denied Panda of a minion. A lot of action has been down on this boss side. We haven't been able to see them too much. But in terms of XP right now, Panda's a little bit up. So definitely there's some trading going back and forth up in the top lane. And this has been even from last game to now, it's been a nice fight between these two. We've seen a lot show up from both teams. Panda last time wasn't able to have the space to capitalize. Well, they have it now. Nicolette with the quad shadow. Yui Fendi, we've seen this position before from Xayah and the rest of the team, punishing down on Yui Fendi, but this time he's not going to let it happen.
Oh. She did find the out there, especially with the backup coming through. Tegami, Abby, and Yui kicking out the rest of C9, forcing them to rotate away. Look at how deep in Moshi Bang is. Moshi, what you doing? Cotton, proxy, and controlling the lower quarter so that the rest of her team can make moves up top. Oh, Minoan Fury, no one home.
Big miss, but Panda still takes some damage. 4 members of CFU up in the top side. Are they going to try to force in this tower? Look at Xayah with the conceal play, looking for the stun. Hits the flicker, misses as well. Both roamers whipping there a little bit. And now both teams are going to be forced to back off. It's a lot of ultimates down. Going to move down to this turtle. Jewel's already waiting for it.
A swing and a miss. Both also committed their flickers. So that's tough. Like, that is 2 minutes of hard engages, honest to God. angles that you gotta find. Still 1,000 between these two teams. C9 and CFU Serendipity back at the turtle pit. A post light, setting it to reset. Xayah spotted out, forced out of the Pixel brush. And Tagami, I'm wondering if she's thinking purple or turtle. Purple or turtle. I think she can buy time. This is enough time to go purple first, because I think they got the go signal that Nicolette is also still just farming up.
Yeah, Nicolette makes the same decision, but Tagami's not going to go for this orange, right? Going to have to commit. Nicolette's there as well. Jewel able to get a little bit of a stun on Moshi Bang. Ashley Xayah looking for the angle as well from the mid bushes. Now Turtle into the hands of CFU, but Nicolette loves this bush here. Wants to hang out. Target on Moshi Bang. Gets the shadow kill. Not enough damage though. Netherrealm does come out, but the big knockup. Tagami able to secure that Turtle. Now Nicolette brought down to about half health. Firing back onto Tagami. Tagami trying to puncture through, puncture away. Cloud9 loses the Turtle, but nobody goes down.
Despite the Cloud9 collision, I call it that because they just want to ram themselves into all 5 members of CFU Serendipity. CFU made themselves scarce. Like, that could have been definitely much worse. Now wait, 1v1, Jewel versus Moshi.
Oh, Moshi starting to get better. Jewel doesn't have the minions to get the health back.
Oh. Sickle versus Spear.
Sickle versus Spear.
Oh, neither lady walking away with a W, and that's how most negotiations work. If neither walk away happy, was a good deal. So it's a dead lane down bottom. What about top? That's a 2v1. Xayah about ready to make her way there. There's a flicker back up on both of them. I wonder
who's gonna hit it this time. But the rest of CFU now showing up. They're gonna be able to take this tower. Panda not gonna play it too dangerous. Does get the stun onto Yui. Panda lets it happen.
All right, they all retreat. That was a 4v4 waiting to happen, possibly a 5v5 because Tagami was a little way off here. She is hitting level 11. Let's see now. She's down 500 gold.
Which is good for Nicolette, right?
This is where the shadows allow for faster rotations compared to the dashes on the lands.
Yeah, I mean, I think the dashes come in play really well in team fights, but when it comes to the jungle, I definitely think Nicolette, and we already saw even in last game, Nicolette was great at farming, great at, keeping up with Tagami even when the team was losing.
She knows.
So now we're seeing it really pop off here, but Nicolette maybe needs to look for some pickoffs at this point to try to make this lead a little bit more.
Yeah, she's got a rhythm to it, and I think what she's doing is she's leveraging the fact that she can rotate faster, get far more efficiently than Tagami, but let's see, they are looking to collapse down here onto the bottom. All right, eventually we'll get pushed in. Moshi can't take down. Oh, she saved the turret, but for now, that worked out. Oh.
A lot of damage, though. I'm offended. Does luck on Moshi Bang, and all gone. Shadow kill comes in. One more shot. Nicolette unable to secure it. Force it back off, and that's another ult down. Cloud9 might have to buy some time. CFU, though, knows the damage there and isn't going to force this Lord either.
Yep. In the realm of ults from the meta assassins right now, Shadow kill takes a while. Shadow kill might as well have been an eternity if nothing comes out of it. Like, you got to reset, find another angle, maybe after another huge team fight or a trade, and then it comes back on. See, look, I've been ranting about Shadow kill. It's still up.
Jewel gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Yui Fendi able to get the kill there. Cloud9 trades it for a tower up top. This time Cloud9 playing some more of the macro game. Minions coming down the mid side as well, but CFU now with a man up, a girl up, I should say. They're gonna be on this Lord. Xayah looking for an angle. The knockup does connect onto Abby. Nicolette into the backside. A lot of damage onto Abby. Able to secure the kill. Lord down to about 10%. It's going to be a 50-50. Tagami comes out on top of the coin flip. But now Moshi in trouble. CX Panda looking for the kill, looking for the takeout. Ashley able to secure it. Nicolette looking for one as well. Yue goes down. 3 numbers drop for CFU. Cloud9 going to be able to come out on top even after losing the Lord.
The apple of my eye. A plan well executed. Amazing team fight. Amazing collapse. Sure, Tagami walks away with the Lord scoring it for CFU Serendipity, but at the end of it, what do you get when you lose a chunk of the map? Because Cloud9's gonna run roughshod. Look, they're gonna push down bottom. Panda left a lane up top. Even if Lord is there, they can get to it eventually, and then they're gonna try to push in mid again. Look at this now, 3K ahead. C9 up on CFU Serendipity. Items-wise, again, say what you will about that team fight dash, but when you're down about 2K gold like this, it's hard to think of how else Tagami can affect the map. Besides, again, objectives and team fighting.
I definitely agree. I think one of the saving graces here for CFU, Moshi Bang still holding a gold lead over Jewel there. And Moshi Bang's just been able to tank around, get some of these big final slashes, and it's something that Cloud9 consistently has to watch out for. And even there, they know they're going up top. They know Cloud9 has to defend Lord, and what does CFU do? They cut bottom lane, they open up space for their minions to get there, and they get a tower. So even though they lost out on the Lord, they still found something in the chaos. And it just goes to show they always have a macro mindset. CFU just doing wonders with it.
Yep, and I think as soon as Cloud9 transcends to that level, because again, they're winning team fights, they're winning trades, as soon as they're able to turn that into a macro movement, then CFU Serendipity might be looking at checkmate. But for now, they're clawing back. It's giving comeback, as it is. Moshi Bang checks in with the bush, spots Jewel, and Xayah there. Oh no, 1v1, could this be?
A lot of damage on Agami, no shadow kill. Yui Fendi able to get the kill on a Nicolette, the shutdown, putting a nice chunk of gold into the pocket. CFU now looking for the takeoff, looking for the moment, looking for the engage. I'm offended, connects onto Yui. Xayah gets the stun. Whoa. Can the team follow up? They get stunned as well. Unable to fully commit, but now they're locking on. Panda with a speedy light wheel, trying to get some free shots. Tagami on the run. Panda needs one more and finds the kill. Tagami down. Moshi Bang might be the next on the block. Chop, chop, chop. But wait, the final slash. Panda unable to connect. Finally gets a double. Finally looking for the triple, but Yui Fendi and Yui don't want to give it up. Cloud9 finds something. It's a 2-for-1. Can they take a tower too?
And suddenly it comes to a stop, stop, stop. Here's the STC replay one more time. I could have sworn Nicolette was going to get it, but here comes the cavalry, the sharks of CFU Serendipity. They overloaded Nicolette. She wasn't even expecting. Oh, what? There were 3 in there? And I'm not so sure, but there might have been a Minoan and Fury committed. Is this real time? Are we looking at real? No, it's still the replay. It's the aftermath of that fight. And that's Moshi Bang looking for the chop, chop, and then the stop. They eventually won the trade still. So what I'm trying to say is Cloud9, the thesis statement is they love team fighting. They're winning most of their team fights, save for like weird pickoffs. Nicolette was out of her breath there. But as soon as they can turn it into huge conversions, then we're talking. Then maybe we can see a 1-1.
Thesis statement, Cloud9, bringing the very young team essentially, right?
Barely
young team
months
in NA,
old.
but they're bringing that old school young team NA vibe, loving team fights. We want to clash. We want to try to win in micro mechanics. How far will that take them though? They did just get the push on the top lane. If they're going to get the outplay here, I think this far in the game, that's just how they have to win it, right? It has to be the big team fight.
The Ohio brothers. You were naming American teams. I just had it to get in there. But yeah, you're right. It reminds me a lot of a young team from 2021 who made it all the way to 3rd place in the World Championships. BTK played a very similar play style, and here now I'm seeing signs of that, little hints of that in Cloud9's play style, but they gotta bring it up. If they can turn this team fight excellence into a Lord here, then CFU Serendipity might be staring at a base defense.
Very true, and Cloud9 knows they're on the ledge. We saw the reaction from Nicolette. Just shows how invested into this she is. But CFU always keep their cool, man. Even when they were behind against Vega in the previous game, they still seemed to keep their cool. They came into this series feeling good about themselves, ready to play. And all they got to do is get this one win. They're 3,000 gold behind, but just a few minutes from possibly, you know, maybe securing group stage.
That's the Kamai cool in play. They're just waiting. Check this out. Not even shaken with the Lord dance. Yui jumping into that river brush. Here comes Tagami.
Yule takes a lot of damage. Thorn Rose does come out from Tagami. They're able to create some space. Nicolette's the one playing the macro game now. Was up in the top lane for a second. Going back down to the mid. Looking for a way around the back maybe.
Huge.
Cheeky play onto somebody.
Huge rotation. She's keeping herself scarce. No one knows where she is. Not even Moshi might have seen her.
I think she's good, yeah. I think she's in a safe spot. And C9 knows she's there this time. Cloud9 pushing CFU back. Nicolette wants that revenge kill onto Tagami here. Thorn Rose comes out. Nicolette not going to force it this time. Goes down. They get the Lord. Well played.
Amazing. Just through the threat of the unknown. You see how there were like just 1 or 2 C9 players in the pit, and they still got the more than like showing 3 or 4 players. They were able to take that Lord clean by hiding more players. That's ridiculous. By hiding players, you got away with more, and you got more than if you were honest about it. This is a new aspect of the Lord dance that we've seen, and C9 are putting it into Beautiful execution. They're now up 4,000 gold. CFU Serendipity, again, they're staring down on a Lord defense. Best case scenario, they don't lose inhibitor. Worst case, they lose like 2.
Definitely could be trouble in Cloud9's shown. I mean, this is Cloud9's time to shine. CFU, no place to run. You're forced into a team fight now. There is a bit of a bottleneck here. They have to be careful.
That's right. Luckily, their lineup is great at in-base defenses, right? They got a big, chunky Minotaur. They got the final slash on Moshi Bang. Lord crashes through. And they got the cleanup in Tagami. Can they get it through now? Tagami dashing around. Yep, that's a second inhibitor in mid.
Zaya's being so patient with this Numenon Blast. Not going to waste it. Jewel holding down the front side. They get 2 inhibitors. Nicolette locks on. Moshi down. In comes Minoan's Fury. Nice response. Ashley to bring out the Netherrealm. Tagami taking a little bit of damage. Pops the Thorn Rose, but an I'm Offended locks in. And Jewel finds Yui Fendi. They're going to lock onto the base. Panda unloading right now. They don't even have the minion, but they're going to try to force this in. It's nothing but Abby. Cloud9 showing CFU it's not over yet.
We are mere moments away from a 1-1, and here we are. The group of death lives up to its name. C9 takes it to 1-1 against CFU Serendipity.
What does that mean, Leo? Big possibilities for a future tiebreaker in this one. We might see Game 3 eventually, but Cloud9 shows up. They had a rough draft, a rough game in number 1, but just like CFU proved themselves in Game 1, Cloud9 responds, and the group of death definitely prevails to hold its name.
Word of